Hey folks, Coach Patrick here from Marathon Nation with a nighttime video. The wife is out with her friends, kids are asleep, which means I get to talk to you about your taper nutrition. With the fall marathon season upon us, I've had a lot of questions from people about what exactly they need to do in those remaining weeks, days, and hours leading up to their race to make sure that their body's in a great place. There's a couple different things you can do, and I'm going to walk you through them from a macro to a micro level. So bear with me as I do that, and tune in wherever you feel is most appropriate. As with everything I do, please feel free to hit me up on Facebook at facebook.com/marathonnation or twitter.com/marathonnation. I'll be happy to answer your questions over there in person if I don't get to them here. So your taper really begins when you run that last long run. In our world at Marathon Nation, that's about 4 weeks out is when your really last long run goes in. From that point on, everything starts to cut down in volume. What that means is that your body's been working all year harder and harder incrementally as you add long runs, add more intensity, get closer to your race. And the demands that your muscles have placed on energy levels, the demand for food, calories, carbs, glycogen, everything has increased gradually over time. And now you hit that peak with that long run, and you start to taper down with your volume. Even though you keep that intensity up, your body starts to consolidate its fitness. That's a very sketchy time for a lot of people. People get aches and pains and whatever it is. And the number one mistake that people make from a nutritional perspective is they continue to eat on a flat baseline across this period of time. So once you peak and start to come down the other side, if you're truly going to be competitive on race day and you want to watch your body composition, you also need to make a fundamental switch at that point in time from eating kind of loosey-goosey or pretty much anything in sight if you've been putting up some serious miles and effort, to really kind of being a little more focused. And here's what I think about when I say more focused, okay? I eliminate things like soft drinks, excess sugars from my diet at that point in time, okay? I've already kind of cut down on them before, but I definitely do so once I hit that last long run, okay? I do my last long run, I have one, great meal, fun time that night, and then I kind of dial things in. And this is the beginning of the mental process of me being serious about my race. I really try and cut out most of the starches in my diet, where I limit them, so no more bread, so things like pizza and so on are pretty much out, except for very minute portions. I am a huge fan of things like risotto, so I'll eat a little bit of those with a meal every once in a while. But in general, lots of lean meats, lots of salads, lots of fruit, lots of things like that. I try to stay away from dairy. I'm kind of cautious on it in general, but I'm absolutely cautious on that in the last couple bits of the time leading up to the race. So I do lots of things like almond milk and so on. In those last few weeks, you start to really kind of focus in on your diet. If you don't, then you run the risk of putting on a couple extra pounds in those last few weeks, very detrimental in your performance, okay? Now, once you're within a week to go, okay, so that's the starting at, 3 weeks out, essentially, 4th week run, 3 weeks of full countdown into your race. When you're in that period, right, you're being good about what you're eating, you're staying hydrated, you're cutting out those excess sugars and so on. Take care of your body, getting sleep, don't want to get sick at this point in time, right? Then with about a week to go, so the Sunday before your Sunday race or the Saturday before your Saturday race, that's where you really start to need to think about how you're lining yourself up from a nutritional perspective for your race. And again, you really want to dial things in. And primarily, most of your nutrition that you've been eating for the last couple of weeks will be sufficient because you've eliminated a lot of those starches and the excess calories and things, high sugar, high fructose, elements that you don't need in your diet in general. But you can really focus in this last window, right? You've got some discipline now because your event is so close. In these last couple of days, what you really want to do is not change that, but instead really focus on consistency. Eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or however it is you decided to divide up your meals, on a consistent schedule. No surprises for your body. The key is to try and keep that consistent across your travel as well. Last thing you want to do is be eating just about what you need, and then get on a plane and fly for 6 hours, and all you've had was a packet of peanuts, and you had no water, right? And then your body emerges from that in kind of in a semi-starved state, in which has repercussions down the line in terms of how you eat in that next meal, the food choices you make, the type of sleep you get, and so on. So all of that begins to add up in kind of a domino effect. So do your best to plan that last week to be consistent, nothing special. In addition to nothing special, I want to say, please, please, please do not carbo load, okay? Carbo loading to the layperson sounds like I need to go out and eat a ton of pasta, bread, and garlic bread, and whatever else I can get my hands on. Odds are your body is not glycogen depleted If you have been eating a good diet so far and have been exercising in accordance with your taper in terms of effort sort of coming down, your body's only going to be able to store so much. If you overload on the pasta 3-4 days out, you start eating pasta every night, pasta for lunch and so on, you're going to get bloated. You're going to actually start retaining water, and that can become a problem for you as well on race day, which is yet another thing that you want to avoid. So don't think about carb loading. Instead, think about eating that same consistent diet. Now, when you do want to think about a critical meal and so on, I look at the lunch the day before the race as my critical meal. I like to go out to maybe some kind of an Italian place, something safe, and I usually order two meals. I get like a personal pizza and chicken parmesan or something like that. I have no idea. So I have two items that have good amount of carbs in them. That's really it. It's all my carb loading right there, right? I eat as much as I can within reason, and I take the rest home with me to my hotel. I can snack on it as needed as I go. I have an early dinner, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Usually go out with whoever I'm with. I'm not really that interested in eating, but I can nibble on something if I am hungry. I've always got that stuff back in my hotel room or my condo, wherever it is that I'm staying, and I'm good to go. There's nothing else special about that time frame in terms of race week aside from consistency and nailing that lunch the day before that you want to do, okay? Focusing right in on race day, make sure you've made the preparations for your race breakfast ahead of time. A lot of times if you're in a hotel, all of a sudden you find out all you've got is a little budget microwave. What are you going to eat? Have you ever eaten microwave oatmeal before a race before or not? Is there a bagel shop around the corner you can get access to? Do you need to bring your own? What does that look like? You really need to start thinking about that because you don't want to have that problem when you touch down. So call the hotel, figure that out, plan accordingly from your own schedule so you know that you want to do. And then ultimately, as you lead into your race and you're adding a little bit more water, not going crazy with the hydration, a little bit of sports drink the day before, kind of mix it up as you go. On race morning, you have a good early breakfast about 2.5 hours before. Good number of calories, no surprises, do what you want to do. I look in the 500 to 700 calorie range as a good sized breakfast. Then I'm sipping water, maybe a little bit of sports drink as I need it. About 30 minutes before my race, 20 minutes before maybe, I take a gel, about 100 calories, whatever flavor you like, and about 8 ounces of water. Of course, I'm going to the bathroom as needed and so on, and then I start my race and I'm ready to go. All of this focus is meant to say that I've given you no real serious bullets and no critical line items around the exact food you must not eat. The right food for you is the food that meets the needs of your body and is easy for you to obtain and is easy for you to prepare. I can come up with a lot of great nutritional advice that many people simply can't execute on. So as you move into those final weeks after you finish your long run, start to tighten things up. Know that in that last week, things become critical from a consistency perspective, not carb loading, but really dialing in that lunch the day before and then having those last 24 hours to race ready to go so you're able to get out there and race to the fitness that you've trained to build for so long. Last thing you want to do on race day is realize that you've sunk your ship before you even left the dock because you made some poor nutritional choices in the week and the hours leading up to your race. Okay? Hope that was helpful. I look forward to some specific questions from you guys again on Facebook or on Twitter. As always, Coach Patrick from Marathon Nation signing off. Take care, folks. Have a good night.